What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast. I'm your humble host, Jerome Jones, and you already know who this is, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Listen, man, we had a good week. I mean, NFL-wise, we didn't have a good week. Both of us, we had a pretty bad NFL week. But I feel like college football kind of made up for it a little bit. I mean, Ray, I know your team's not really in it, but or at least the playoffs. They had a bowl game. But how was this weekend for you, man? Happy New Year's, by the way.
Happy New Year. It was okay, man. A lot of good football games, and of course the two playoff games were very good. So it was a good weekend.
100%. We're gonna get into it. I want to say thanks for all the viewers in here. We got a couple of guys in here already. So again, thank you all, guys. If you want to leave a comment here, please do. We got a comment here already. I didn't realize it, but I will stick it. Let's go. I will stick to let's go Washington. Okay, I was reading that horribly. I'm guessing that's Remy. I actually have a photo that I want to show you guys in a second that I'm gonna upload as we're talking, Ray. But thank you guys for being in here. We appreciate each and every one of our viewers. Make sure if you want to comment here, you can. If you're on Twitter, you can, or X, whatever you want to call it. You can pick comments in the comment section now on X as well. So put your comments down. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you feel about the college football championship game, the playoffs. Let us know what you feel. How you feeling? I'm already repping my blue right now, guys. So you already know which way I'm swaying. I don't want my opinion and how I feel to sway you guys. I want you guys to be able to put your opinion in as well and tell us how you feel about the whole situation and who's going to win and how the match is going to be. So let us know. And, if you have any questions or anything like that, definitely put it in the chat room as well. So, Ray, let's get right into it. I'm going to let you go first, Ray, because I got a couple things I want to talk about. Michigan, Alabama, great game. A really good game altogether. I know there's some mistakes on both sides, which I'll get into. But overall, Ray, what do you feel? Go ahead, Jerome, run it into another week. Rub it in for another week. Got you. That has to be Remy. Or it could be Chris. But yeah, man, it's a good feeling for me right now. But I'll get into that. Ray, I want to hear what you think. How's your feelings? Let us know.
I thought, like you said, it was a good game. I think you saw the fact that Alabama did not have a lot of faith in Milroe to throw the ball too much. It was Michigan's defense pretty much taking over when they needed to take over. I mean, Milroe didn't really make any plays throwing the ball, and they kept him in the pocket and didn't let him. He ran the ball. He ran the ball for 3 yards a carry. No explosive plays really in the passing game or the run game. So you saw Michigan basically dominate the line of scrimmage when they needed to,
Yeah, definitely. That's it, right? That's what you got right now. I'm gonna get into it.
I mean,
that's why I was like you can go because I'm really getting into it.
Anybody who doubted that the committee got it right, you can't doubt it now.
I'm getting into that too.
Great games. 4 very good teams. Then when it shakes out, you have the 2 undefeated teams going against each other. Isn't that what you wanted?
100%.
I mean, that's what most people wanted, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, Ray, do you remember what I said about Alabama prior to this game?
As far as
just in general.
No.
I said something very specific about this Alabama team. And I want nobody to feel like any type of way about it or anything like that. I said something. I'm gonna hold that for a second. I want to see what this user says. Was Alabama's last play called by, by the Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson? Was
I
very.
think
I'm gonna talk about that play too. I'm gonna talk about that play. I'm gonna talk about that play very interesting. But go ahead, right?
I think you saw them calling plays to not to expose their quarterback. I do.
I low key kind of disagree, and I'll explain why in a second. But let me get back to my original point. So, I said that Alabama is the hottest team in college football at the time, right, Ray?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay. Remember what I said after that? You remember what I said, Ray?
No.
I said, with that being said, the hottest team in the college football realms right now is going to have about a month off, and I think that was going to bode well for them. Remember you said that?
Yeah, and I agree in a way, Jerome, but I would think here's what I would take away from it.
Uh-huh.
Jim Harbaugh outcoached Nick Saban.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much that was.
That in itself makes me the most happiest because I'm like, can we keep him?
mean, I've seen coaches Kirby Smart when Saban gets the upper hand on them, they start getting jittery, however you want to say it. Not Jim Harbaugh. He pretty much went, I'm Jim Harbaugh. This is Michigan. We'll be fine. And he was right. I mean, Michigan played up front on defense, especially, pretty much as well as you could play against Alabama.
100%. 100%. User says, again, I didn't check if this is from me, but this does say Michigan ran the ball hard. The Quebec made enough plays to get it done. You can't take that away from them. I agree. I definitely agree.
And when you saw what McCarthy made more plays in the passing game than Alabama either let Milroe do or that they were afraid he couldn't do it.
Agree. All right, so I'm glad that was Remy. I had to check real quick. What's up, Remy? Appreciate you being on here. I'm blaming all of Michigan's success on Ryan Day. That's all. I hate it right now very much.
I don't want to get too much into Ohio State, but I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I don't like the idea of firing coaches. You know that, Jerome.
I agree.
But that performance they had last week.
I don't like the idea of firing a coach over one game.
No, but what you saw to me was an offensive game plan that was very, very reliant on Marvin Harrison. And when they didn't have that one go-to guy, they really struggled in that game. I was a little surprised. I mean, I was very surprised.
I'm going to put up a clip. Not clip. I'll put up a photo. Remy, I'm specifically doing this for you, and I hope Chris get in here at some point. If he does, hey Chris, I'm going to show you this as well. But me just being on the internet, after a big victory like that, you kind of get a sense of like how the internet's reacting and stuff like that. And I came across this, and I thought this was hilarious. They are at the Rose Bowl. This couple right here, and it says Ohio State fan supporting Alabama. Wow. New love. Anyway, all right, let me get to what I was thinking for this entire game real quick. First and foremost, obviously the 5 sacks on Milroe was incredible. I thought that was a big factor into it. And this kind of plays into what I was saying with you, Ray, with what you said. I don't think they did not trust Milroe. I think because Milroe is a deep passer, and we're going to get into the deep passing, the deep Michigan defense, and everything like that as well. When we talk about the championship game, but I will say that Michigan did a really good job taking away his deep throws, and a lot of those sacks were because Milroe was a deep throw quarterback. That's what he does. That was his brand. That's what we knew about it. We knew he throws a deep pass and he runs. They collapsed the pocket a lot of times, which didn't allow him to run, especially in the first half. They made adjustments and stuff like that, and he started running a lot more in the second half. But I think that they collapsed the pocket and didn't allow him to have enough time back there, and he was getting sacked very early. I think he had 2 straight sacks in the first drive in itself, I think. So I think that was very, very that was a good stuff right there. That defensive line, I said it before, and I'm gonna get to your comments real quick, Remy. I see that you have some stuff in there, but I seen that. I talked about this. This is the best Michigan defense without and we don't have a first round pick in this defense. As of right now, there might be a couple of guys like Will Johnson might be a guy that we might be talking about a couple of years like that. But for the 2024 draft, there is not a first round guy. It might be Chris Jenkins. I think his value is kind of diminishing just a little bit. I haven't heard a buzz on him a lot the last few weeks. So we'll see about that. Let me get to these comments and then I'll keep going. I'm going to bed at 7:13 Eastern Time. Good night, John. Man, very down right now. Come on, man. Come on, support us. Come on. I want to use your number. I promise. The lines were the line was the difference, Jerome. Like Ray said, Michigan's defensive line dominate, which were shocking. Alabama actually does. Yes. I'll say this. They was confusing that center a lot. It was confusing him. And that's the thing about offensive line. It kind of starts with your center. If your center's over here getting confused, your center has to be the smartest guy on the offensive line. I'm sorry. He'll have to be the most athletic, he has to be the strongest, he has to be the fastest. But he has to be the smartest guy on the offensive line because he got to call out plays. He got to call out the blitz. He got to understand where they're going to blitz him, where they're kind of playing him. He has to have the ball and hike it. So he has to hike it and understand all that stuff before he hikes it. So if you're getting confused and you're the guy that's supposed to be the smartest guy and you're looking around and you have to hike it, you're going to have low snaps or you're going to give up, pressure or whatever because your head's still down or you're slow getting up and stuff like that. That center position is very, very vital, and we were confusing that kid the entire game. So I thought that was very interesting to see on an Alabama team, especially Alabama offensive line. Like Remy said, that was very interesting right there. Also, that we shut down our wide receivers. Their receivers really, very rarely did anything crazy. Isaiah Bond, who was a beast, 4 catches, 47 yards. That was and he had the most. He had the most out of everybody. Burton with 4 catches, only 21 yards. And after that, everybody had like less than 15 yards total. So the corners did a really good job. And again, I tell you, the defense was very, very well. Now, the part that I was concerned with, especially later in the game, they started running the ball a lot more. McClellan had 87 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. He looked like a beast. He was so hard to tackle. So we had to do something with that with our linebackers. But I will say this. I want to get into a little bit of negatives with Michigan as well. Obviously, special teams need to pick it up. Listen, that game, if special teams wasn't as sloppy as it was, it could have been I'm not going to say a blowout, because a lot of people are saying it's a blowout. I don't think it was going to be a blowout. But I'm going to say it was a cleaner game. Now, we all seen the muff punt. We seen the near muff punt near the end zone at the end of the game. We all seen, I think it was one other thing that happened on special teams. But the other thing that a lot of people wasn't talking about, and I think they talked about in the broadcast, but the punter was punting horribly in that game, giving them good field position the entire game, which he's typically normally a really good punter. He was not punting good in that game, giving Alabama a lot of good field position. So special teams definitely need to clean it up. That was a huge part of it. JJ McCaffrey had to watch himself because 2 years in a row, he almost threw pick sixes, or a pick in the beginning of the game. So we got very fortunate that Caleb Downs, a guy that we like here at Inside the Hashes, down here, he was a Georgia guy. Now he's playing in Alabama, playing as a freshman. Stepped out before he caught it, so that was an interesting part. Ray, do you want to chime into anything I said real quick?
I mean, it's like if you look at Milroe's completion percentage, it was fine, 16 of 23, but he averaged 5 yards a pass play.
Yeah.
That's like a third of what he averaged during the regular season. So, again, the inability to hit a play downfield. And the crazy thing is, you would think, okay, they're playing coverage. They're not going to let me hit anything downfield, so I'll probably got to run the ball. But you just pretty much seen Michigan's front line just dominate the line of scrimmage, and really, it's how you win the game. I mean, basically, you dominate the line of scrimmage, you win the game. I mean, special teams, like you said, is what kept Alabama in the game.
Yes.
Real position the whole game, like really sloppy play on special teams is what kept Alabama really in the game, and why they had a lead at one point.
Yeah, no, 100%. I 100% agree with that. It's very sloppy, so you can't be doing that against Washington, because Washington will take advantage of that, and we'll talk about that in a second. I do want to talk about a few more things real quick, and then we can get off Michigan and Alabama. I could talk about this all day if I really wanted to. We already 17 minutes in. I didn't realize that. But anyway, the two things. One was, like you said, right. Jim Harbaugh had, not only Jim Harbaugh, but Shamor Moore, whatever. I keep forgetting how to say. Sharon Moore. There you go. Sharon Moore, an incredible offensive.
The future Ohio State coach.
Not funny, right? No, I would hate that. I mean, I'll be happy for him. I would hate that. I would so hate that. I would be happy for him.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing: if we're going to talk about Ohio State really moving on from Ryan Day, then you needed to be somebody like that, who the alma mater and the fans would feel good about. I think they would feel good about something like that.
I agree. Anyway, I don't want to think about that. I want to be happy. Anyway, game plan was incredible. The fourth and 5 they had when they had to have it and make it go to overtime. That was an incredible play. The touchdown right before that, where they had Blake Corum go like inside the center, and then make do a hard cut outside rather, and then you had Cornelius Johnson coming right behind him, so you had two options right there you could have thrown to. I thought that was an incredible play. Blake Corum is an incredible player, man. I'm gonna miss that guy. He is a beast. But considering that they didn't run the ball all that much in the first half, and I'm actually okay with that. Like, if we can kind of preserve that in a little bit and then start running when we need to, like, I would love them to kind of run a little bit more, especially in the next game, and we'll talk about that. But I like the game plan. There was a couple of miscues on offense where, JJ McCaffrey threw it behind the receiver on the third down, another third down, the receiver dropped it. So there was a couple of plays that I'm just like, it was there, it just wasn't executed. I wish there was a little bit better. It wouldn't be that close, but hey, man, a win's a win. I like it. I do want to address the last play real quick, though. Everybody's like, oh, that was such a terrible play. Why would you do that? I honestly don't think it was a terrible play. If you really think about it and you look what happened, I think you'll understand. So let me break it down to you. And I kind of explained this last night on our podcast last night as well. So, one, Alabama came out in one formation, and Michigan timed out to adjust to that formation. Then I think Alabama tried the same thing, but flip it, and then Michigan was in another formation, a different formation on defense, will make them time out again so they can try something different. Now, for me, if you do that and if you had a play that you like and Michigan, the way Michigan is lining up and it's looking like they matching what you had, I'm gonna go back. I think they did a brilliant job with that. I'll go back and I'm gonna pick a play that I feel like we've been winning on. Now, at the end of that game, Alabama was in that game because the way they was running Jalen Milroe. So Melrose, I forgot exactly how you pronounce it. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, weird or wrong. For me, I agree with what Alabama did. It didn't work, and I'll explain that whole situation as well. But for me, I think that was perfectly did because honestly, that's what I was dreading when they were that close to their end zone. Honestly, the run by Melrose because that was what's hurting it. It wasn't a passing game. We already talked about how many passing yards that Melrose had in that game. It was the run threat with the running back and Melrose doing a RPO. So to get to that last play, I think that was a perfectly called play because it was working. Now the issue was again, maybe it was a good play, but maybe it shouldn't have been a shotgun play because your center was struggling already, and he snapped it low. Once he snapped it low, your whole operation is messed up. Your whole operation. If you understand how the RPO works, it's reading and reacting. You can't react when your head's down here. So Melrose is catching the ball down here, already trying to keep the ball in his hand and trying to keep balance. So for me, a lot of people like, oh, he should have ran to the outside. How? The man, he's seen a guy, he's seen flash of blue in the left-handed side. Mike Centerfield was there. He might not have been in complete position to stop him, but he's seen him there, right? So if in a panic situation where the ball is low, you have to one, make sure you secure it. Two, it's the last play of the game, so you have to get some type of yards. So you're trying to get some type of yards. And three, you can't think about what's the next move because now the whole operation is messed up. So for the people that are saying that was a bad play, why would you do that? You found out 2 times for that. I'll say it was a perfectly called play, bad execution on the center's part, really.
I agree with what you said, Jerome. The only problem is that you got bad execution the whole game. I would have lined up under center. I would have run like a jet sweep or something in that play.
I agree with that. But you can't also do RPO from the center. So the RPO was what was working. I can't really blame Saban for that. I really can't.
I'm not second guessing the call. I'm not saying it was horrible. I'm saying I maybe would have thought something else if I had a play that I had saved that. Because, again, Michigan was dominating, especially up front there. Correct. The center was having a problem the whole game.
Correct.
Again, I'm not saying it was a horrible call.
Mm-hmm.
I maybe would have called something else. I just think when you watch Michigan, how Michigan by then was really dominating up front, man.
Correct.
At the end of that game, man, they were having their way with Alabama's interior offensive line.
I agree.
So even though the problem is this. Yes, execution is always the reason why the play doesn't work. But 100%. The defense has something to do with why the execution is not working.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I don't want to sound like, because I am a Michigan fan. I'm trying to look at it as a football fan. And as a football fan, I can't blame Alabama for the play. I blame them for the execution. But at the same time, if you're looking at that play, Michigan was in that backfield very fast.
Way too quick.
They were very.
He had a bad snap.
Yeah.
It really led to, like you said, him taking his eyes and putting him down below beneath and where you don't want him to do. But let's face it,
Correct.
without Milroe and his offensive running the ball, they're not there.
Correct.
So to put the ball in his hands is the right call.
100%.
I probably would have tried to run outside too. I don't know how I was going to do that, but it would have been what I would have tried to do.
It was tough, right? It wasn't going to be easy.
No, I get that. I mean, but again, by then, Michigan was having their way up front by then, and the center had such a rough game that he had no confidence left by then. And he was just trying to get the ball near Milroe, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that ball was like that much away from the ground. It was very. Noah was actually lucky he didn't fumble it. It was so low, like his hands.
Right, that's what I mean. No, once you take your eyes and you go down, and then it's a run play. Yeah. There's really no.
Right. It wasn't even right. It wasn't even a run play that did it. It was RPO. You can tell it was RPO because the motion from I think it was a receiver or the running back came across. And actually, if Milroe was actually able to get a clean one and maybe looked up, he probably had that guy wide open.
He may have. Or if it's a clean snap, maybe the option is to hand the ball to him, and because it's not a clean snap, it wasn't there.
Exactly.
Again, no one knows, and Nick Saban's never going to say, "Yeah, my player screwed up." He's me like,
Correct.
"Yeah, we ran a play to try to get in the end zone, didn't work." You know.
Exactly. So again, guys, I hope I gave you guys a good insight of that last play. I'm happy. I'm a Michigan fan, so at the end of the day, I'm happy. But as a football fan, I don't want anybody to turn down Nick Saban or this and that because honestly, I personally think it was a great play. I think it was a good play based on what was working in the game. Now, was it a good play at the time? This and that, your center's, struggling. That's another question. But they wasn't really under center as it was anyway during the entire game. So like to put Milroe under center, which he's not comfortable with, to put him under center on a vital play like that, and they probably didn't practice him being under center like that anyway. If they did, might have been very seldom practice. You don't pick a play that you don't really practice in that position where you need to win the game. So I just don't like the fact that people are saying that it was a boneheaded play or out. Nick Saban.
Honestly, I don't think Nick Saban cares what people think. So good for
him. He doesn't.
Again, he called a play. It wasn't executed. Again, Michigan's defense had a lot to do with it not being executed because if they didn't get in the backfield so quickly, then Milroe would have had time to react to the low snap. But he didn't because, there were 3 guys in his face within, 10 seconds?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 4 seconds, 3 seconds? I mean, it just wasn't the way Michigan was playing up front. What would have been a good call?
Yeah.
That's the point. I know sometimes you got to just say, "Yo, man, the other team's good too," and move. 100%. Move on, man. Again, Alabama. People would criticize Nick Saban. It's Nick Saban, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I think he'll be fine.
Again, I thought it was an incredible game. Both sides, bounced each other out. There was some mistakes on both sides, obviously, but man, at the end of the day, we asked for a great game. I thought it was a great game. I'm happy about it. If Michigan would have lost that game, I would have said the same thing I said last year against TCU. It was a great game. So
it was. I think you saw Michigan was way more focused this year.
We'll talk about that. Offensively, defensively, yes.
I just think because of what happened with the coach during the season, where they almost made they made him into a martyr, where the team is just rallying behind their coach, and different season, man.
This is my thing too. I get what Jim Harbaugh was trying to do at the end of the game, fit the more veteran, punt returner back there, but the guy has barely been returning punts Samaje Morgan been returning punts all year. Yes, he's a freshman. Maybe the lights were a little too bright for him at the moment. It was very early in the game. I feel like you have to keep him back there. Like the
You know what?
I don't even know the name of the other punt returner. I just learned about him yesterday or 2 days ago, to be honest. But like for him to try to fill that punt so deep in the 10, at that point you might just have Samaje back there. He's a lot quicker, and you know what I mean. Like he's more used to it. So
never field the ball inside your 10-yard line, man.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
everybody should know that, Jerome.
Yeah.
That's something you learn very early on. Never field a punt inside your own 10-yard line.
Man, if he gets that ball back,
I mean,
man, if he didn't get that ball back, even when he did get that ball back, I was so scared because it looked like he was in the end zone when he did get tackled. And his knee did hit right before the line, but dude, I was like, oh God, like, whew. Yeah. Field position was rough in that game, very rough, very rough. Yeah. All right, let's get to our next one. Washington versus Texas. Right, another classic. This game was very good. 31 to 37. I keep trying to say 20. Washington beating Texas. Right. Man, this is a fireworks game. Right. What was your thoughts on this one?
This was what everybody thought it was going to be. It was a little more open than wide open in the Michigan-Alabama game.
Yeah.
You saw Michael Penix. Honestly, kid is good, man. He's good. I mean, every time he touches the ball, they get a first down. I mean, he is good, man. And I mean, we'll get into what's going to happen in the championship game a little bit later, I guess. But Michael Penix is good, man. He just is really good, and they only ran the ball for 103 yards, but it didn't matter. He threw the ball all over the place, and 3 different guys scored. I mean, he's just really good, man. Like I mean, what are you going to say? I mean, I expected Texas's defense to be a little better than it was.
Yeah,
but I mean, and Washington's defense actually started playing early on a little better than I thought they were going to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, honestly, the Michigan-Washington game is going to be a really, really good game. I do.
I agree. And I want to really break that one down too in a little bit. But I'll say this: both of Texas running backs did them no favors. I feel like they was coming into the game. They was going to be the biggest factors in the game. Baxter and Blue, very talented running backs. I feel like Texas is always replenishing their running backs, man, because they always have some really good ones. But both of them put the ball on the ground, which did not bode well for them. They got a little lucky because Washington fumbled themselves doing a punt return, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. So that really helped Texas kind of stay in that game a little bit. But man, Ewers had a good game, 24 for 43, and the efficiency of it wasn't that great. He started playing a lot better at the end of the game. Penix 29 for 38, 430 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ewers had 1 touchdown. No picks in this game, which tells you the level of quarterback play he was looking at, man. It was fun. This was a really fun game to watch. I think that Penix, and I'll get a little bit into him. Talk about for the next segment or the last segment, but this kid is special, man. I know that we had a little glimpse of it during when he was in Indiana, and me and Ray, 2 Big Ten guys, so we've seen a lot of like Indiana play. And when he was in Indiana, we was like, whoa, this guy got something special. But it was always kind of something still missing with him. And I don't know if it was just Indiana, he didn't have the weapons around him when he was there, but when he was there and before he had a lot of injuries too. That factors into it too. So,
I mean, what you see here is he was the playmaker on that Indiana offense, and now he's still a playmaker, but he's also a facilitator.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Jalen Polk 5 receptions, 122 yards, a touchdown. Roma Duz, 6 receptions for 125 yards and a touchdown. I mean, you have guys that are playmakers on this team. He's just one of them.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, like I said, he threw the ball for every time he threw the ball, he got 11.3 yards of reception.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a first down. And he only ran the ball for 31 yards for 3 carries. So every time he ran the ball, he pretty much got a first down. So right there, he's responsible for what? 20 first downs? I mean, it's crazy how good this kid was. And again, like you said, we did see glimpses of it at Indiana. But what you saw was he did have one good receiver there, but I don't remember what the kid's name was in Indiana that he had. He was pretty good. I don't remember him. But you saw that, and you saw that he was athletic and he can make plays with his feet, which he still does. He's just he's a complete package now.
Yeah. Before he was more of a runner, and I think sometimes, I will never wish injury on anybody, but sometimes some injuries make you a better person or a better player.
It was, and part of the reason why I think he had some injury issues is he was trying to carry that offense, man.
Yeah.
If you remember, they had a huge win against Penn State.
Yeah.
He carried that offense to win over Penn State.
I totally remember that was the game that really put him on the map for me. I was like, man, this kid is nice. I remember us talking about him a few years ago.
We did.
Pennis kid, man. This Pennis kid.
Juice, man, for sure.
He definitely did. But now he's on it by throwing it, and his arm is incredible. Like, effortless throwing. He just throwing it in the spot that he needs it to be.
The best deep ball in college football, man.
I was just about to say that, Ray.
The best deep ball in college football, man, bar none.
And everybody always thinks deep throw as far as like getting out there. He's accurate with it.
Yeah, it's like you can tell when a guy throws a nut. Anybody can, like, I shouldn't say that. Some guys throw the ball hard, and that's fine. This guy throws it with touch.
Yeah,
and it's right here, man. Like, it's really, it's fun to watch. It really is. I mean, it really. Again, I'm looking forward to a great championship game. I really think I am. So.
Me too, Ray. I think it's going to be great. We're going to talk a little bit about both teams again for the national championship game. But before we go to the national championship game, there were obviously some other bowls going on. So it's still bowl season. I want to address a couple real quick. Wanted to go over a little bit more than we were probably going to, but I wanted you to us to talk about a few because I really want us to talk about that championship game or what's our thoughts on that, and we spent a lot of time on the playoff games. But let's get right into it, Ray. Let's start off with let's do the one that Remy said he's going to sleep early with. Ohio State versus Mizzou, man. What's your thoughts on that, man?
Boring. I mean, is there any way? And again, Ohio State looked dysfunctional on offense.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand how you saw two different programs. Yeah, both of them don't. Well, and here's the difference. USC didn't have Caleb Williams. So that's a pretty significant player that you lose, even though their quarterback played great.
Yeah.
The back quarterback for USC played great. That's the point. Ohio State was in a position of replacing their starting quarterback too, but not replacing someone like that, just their starting quarterback.
I agree.
They look dysfunctional on offense.
Yeah, I mean, you had a guy in McCord who's, right now in the transfer portal. He decided to go in the transfer portal pretty early, and he's in there right now. Then you got Melvin Harrison Jr., who didn't play in this game either. So he's out, and I don't want to make excuses for Ohio State too, because man, their receivers are really good. Ibuka will still play. Johnson still play. G. Scott Jr. My guy Tate actually played. He had 5 targets, only 1 reception though for 4 yards. So I was kind of disappointed in that. That's my guy from IG Academy. I interviewed him a few times. Love that guy. He went to Ohio State. He's a freshman over there. So they had their wide receiver pool is so deep. So like for me, I'm just like, all right, well, as a quarterback, don't turn the ball over. Get the ball to our playmakers. Henderson played in that game. He had 19 carries for 72 yards, which isn't the greatest. And he had one long of 20. So outside of the 20, he had 52 yards for 18 carries. So if you want to think about it like that and put it in that perspective, it wasn't the greatest running game either. I feel like Missouri, I don't think they had a lot of guys out for Missouri. Cook still played. Johnson still played. Weezer
played.
Who's that?
Schrader, the running back, played.
Yeah, Schrader was shredding. he was a factor in that game. But
Matthews Johnson played. Yeah, most of our kids played. It's not that for one, I didn't think they were going to beat Ohio State because I thought Ohio State would go out there and still perform. I mean, their quarterback was, and I'm again, young kid. I understand Lincoln Kingholtz. I don't really know a lot about him. I know he started the game, but I mean, he was 6 for 17. I mean, and I understand young player, but again, that goes on the coaches too. I'm not going to blame a guy that's starting.
I will say this: the guy that they was playing, I can't say his name. Kingholtz. Yeah.
Kingholtz. I mean, the problem was if you watch the game, every other time they were saying his name differently.
Gotcha. But that's the thing though. He was actually the third quarterback. Their first quarterback was Brown. He left the game in the second quarter.
Yeah.
It was the second quarter. It wasn't like it was blowing the world out of the worst either, but you had your third quarterback out there.
He was Yeah, I get that. He was 4 for 6 for 20 yards. So I guess him getting hurt or whatever happened kind of put a kibosh on it. Again, man, you have a month to get ready though, man. You need to be ready.
Yeah.
I mean, man, I'm a Dolphins fan. No excuses. I'm tired, man. Okay. No excuses. I'm tired.
It was pretty bad game.
It was horrible.
Yeah. So
it was like honestly, Jerome, because of the quarterback situation not being clear, it made you look at it like, well, this is a throwaway game for Ohio State. And it was. Like they didn't really want to be there. You could tell. And Missouri was flying around on defense like Missouri always does. So they wanted the game a little more than Ohio State. But I Notre Dame played in the bowl game, and I really didn't care much about the game. And I'm sure Ohio State guys are not losing sleep over this game. When they lost to Michigan, they probably felt like their season was over. And I understand. I do. But when you're like Ohio State, you think you should be in the playoffs every year. And really, talent-wise, you probably should be or be right there for sure. I mean, look at like we said earlier last week, Georgia was the one team. If I were them, I'd be like, man, we really should be considered to be in the top 4 still. I know we played bad against Alabama. We didn't play our best game, blah, blah, blah. But we were in the game, most of the way. And then they go out there and pretty much do whatever they want, in their game. So, and, the committee got it right. If Florida State shouldn't have been there. It's good. It's okay, man.
They did. All right. The next game I want to talk about real quick, a really good game, LSU versus Wisconsin, man. LSU winning last minute on a 32-31 game, Ray. What's your thoughts on this one, Ray? Obviously, LSU didn't have their Heisman winner, Jaden Daniels, playing. So Nussmeister, however you say his name, he played at the quarterback position. Played this actually pretty solid game, Ray. Obviously, Wisconsin had Mordecai. He played in the game. He had a good game as well. Both both quarterbacks threw over 350 yards. Both had 3 touchdowns. What's your take on this one, Ray?
Again, man, I'm not a huge Brian Kelly supporter.
Uh-huh.
I will never say that Brian Kelly's not a good coach because he is, but I'm not a supporter.
Yeah.
But again, they had their backup quarterback out there, Garrett Newsmeer, and he throws out numbers.
Yeah.
Helps them win the game. I mean, I don't think that LSU's defense will be proud of what the effort that they put out there. Okay. But again, the quarterback put numbers out there, and 31 for 45, 395, 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's pretty damn good for a backup quarterback. So again, good and bad. Like we all know, Wisconsin's the kind of team where we hope they're going to be good, with new coaching staff down the road. But LSU, man, they put up 35 points, so they did a good job. And this was it was a good game.
It was.
Watch.
All the way down to the end.
Yep. Good game to watch.
100%. Yeah, if you like a record-setting game, this is it right there.
You know what, Jerome? And I would not even say it was sloppy defense. It was just really good offensive execution on both sides.
Definitely.
Wisconsin did a good job getting some turnovers, which helped them in the game. But it was a good game.
100%. No, I agree. And the game was very high scoring, and Malik Nayers, who did get the all-time reception leader at LSU, and that's saying a lot concerning the names that came out of LSU. You got Justin Jefferson, you have Jamar Chase, you have Odell Beckham Jr. You got some big names that came out of that school. So for Malik to get the all-time reception leader title at LSU, that was incredible. But even with that being said, he didn't get a lot. Like he had three catches for 23 yards in that game, right? So if I told you that the backup quarterback is going to be in it and Neighbors was not going to get that much reception, you would have even thought this game was going to be close.
But they got good production from different guys. Brian Thompson Jr. had a really good game, and pretty much carried them all. 13 targets, 8 receptions, 98 yards, but 2 touchdowns, along with 38 yards. A really nice game. And again, for a backup quarterback, kid did a nice job for them.
No, for real. I think they might be in good hands with him being there, man. He's gonna be playing it now. Like you said, though, you gotta do something about that defense, man. It's no way that
they do. This is not an LSU type defense, even though they did have 5 sacks.
Yeah, they did. But even still, I think I could be wrong on this. You could correct me, Ray, but I feel like most of the sacks came in the second half, right?
They did. At least 4 of them that I saw.
Yeah, that's the problem. That was the problem because early on, that's when Nebraska was pinning on LSU at first. It was pin up point. It was late in the game that Wisconsin couldn't keep up, and that's when LSU won at the end of it and came back a little bit. So
I'm not gonna lie, I was rooting for Wisconsin.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I know.
Jerome, honestly, I am a fan of the Big Ten.
Yeah, no.
I like their conference. I like how most of the teams play football.
You don't like
I would never root for an SEC team over a Big Ten team. Never.
Gotcha.
Never. Doesn't matter if it's LSU, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia. Never.
Appreciate that. All right. So before we move on to the championship game, I do want to quickly read off a couple of these games. Ray, if you want to say something real quick about them, you can. But the first one I want to point out is Clemson versus Kentucky. That was a 38-35 game, very close game. Klubnik did not play that well in that game. I was kind of disappointed in him. I'm still waiting for him to break out. He's not really breaking out, so it's kind of concerning for me. I had very high hopes for him, and I thought he was a really good player.
Completion percentage was solid. The yardage was not great. For
Mm-hmm.
30 completions, only had 264 yards. Is
Then a pick.
not great. Again, sacked 5 times, so we did get some pressure on him.
Yeah.
But again, it's like we keep waiting for him to turn that corner and become the player that he was, that we thought he was going to be, being recruited.
Yeah.
But, and honestly, again, a really fun game to watch, though. It really was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Camaraderie between the two coaches, and when it was all said and done,
Correct.
Very fun game to watch. I just wish
we gotta be careful with him too, just because you gotta remember that it's his first starting season too.
Correct, and that's why I'm like, here's my. It's not a problem. I would have thought by now he'd be playing better than he was earlier in the season, and he kind of like is flatlined a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that I think he's not bad. He's got
Correct.
the talent. He's got the ability to be a good player. Right. He just needs to take it in, and it looks like the game is not slowed down for him quite as much as you thought it would by the end of the season.
Definitely. No, I agree. Notre Dame versus Oregon State. They pitted on Oregon State, 40-8. Both teams had backup quarterback. We want to say something real quick about that one, right?
I was very happy how Notre Dame played. Their defense really played well. Steve Van Joey, their quarterback, was just solid in the game. 15 for 19 for that's what I mean. 15 for 19, but for 232 yards, which means he averaged like 13 yards of reception, which is very good, and 3 touchdowns. But again, it was really Notre Dame's their run game, their defense played very, very, very well. Didn't even give up anything until the fourth quarter. So they played really well. I mean, it's encouraging, especially with Riley Leonard coming in and playing the quarterback next year and hiring a good offensive coordinator. I mean, I think that it's encouraging, but I don't want to get too excited until I see what it kind of looks like. I mean, but it was a really suffocating win for Notre Dame's defense. So,
Hey Chris, first of all, thanks for being in. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Ray.
Yo, Chris, how would you feel about Sharon Moore?
Stop it. State of Michigan. I wanted to show you this real quick, Chris. What's going on here? What's going on in this picture, man? What's going on? We rooting for the other team? That's what we're doing now?
For SEC enemies. What are you doing, man?
What is going on with that picture? I need someone explaining to you, sir. No, I appreciate you getting on for sure. All right, real quick. Let's get to. I'm sorry, Ray. Did I cut you off on any points you was making?
No, that's fine. I mean, it really was a basically Notre Dame. It pretty much did what they wanted to do, but it was Oregon State. I mean, who cares? Like, I wanted to play a good team. I would have liked to have played LSU or Penn State.
That would have been
fun for me to sink my teeth into and to feel good if I win or lose. Correct. I expected them to win this game, but it's fine. I mean, I didn't really care. I mean, I watched it because it was the last game, so I'm going to watch. You know.
No, and Ray, I like some of the bowl games where if they're not in the playoffs, to see how kind of the young guys kind of play a little bit too. So I do kind of like watching some of these as well. Sometimes you get really bad games. Sometimes you get good ones. Speaking of a really bad game, Georgia versus FSU. Oh, 61-3. I mean, if you're a Georgia fan, maybe it was great for you. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how you Georgia fans feel. I mean, first year not being the championship in a couple of years. So watching that game and blowing out FSU, I don't know how you guys feel. If I was a Georgia fan, I feel unsatisfied. I mean, they didn't have the starting quarterback. I feel like we should have been in the playoffs still, even though we lost to Alabama. And especially seeing that Alabama lost in the first round. If I was in Georgia, I'd be like, I would feel like I could beat Michigan. I'm gonna be honest about that. Like, I would feel that way. So I don't know if that's the way it would go. I mean, Georgia's still. I say Georgia's still a good team, man. and it was getting hot. It was getting hot at the end of the year too. I feel like a lot of stuff that I was complaining about with them in the beginning of the season just started really cleaning it up. So
Well, the
um,
good thing about it in Drum is next year they would have been in it. They'll be in it. Even if everything were to play out the same way as this year, they lose a tough game to Alabama and a conference, and they'll still be in the playoffs. I mean, like, I do agree with you. I think, honestly, I think Michigan and Washington are the two best teams in college football this year. So I think it's good that they made the championship. But if I was Georgia, would I say I know I could beat Alabama? Absolutely. I know
yeah,
I could beat Texas. No doubt about it. You could beat Texas. I think I could beat Michigan. I think I could beat Washington. I don't disagree with that. But again, you lost the game at the wrong time of the season. And
yeah.
that is how the cheese smells, man. Okay.
Yeah, I'm so glad they changed it though. I really am. I think it's we'll see how next year goes because I still me and Ray had this conversation a few weeks ago. I still feel like there's gonna be some in it, but
My only question is this. I don't have a problem with the number. I would have rather have been 8. We've talked about that many times. 12 is a little bit higher than I would have went, but that's fine.
that's why I have a problem.
Going to be the top 12 teams.
Yeah,
And if it's not going to be, then we're going to pick and choose still, then that's where people are going to have issues.
yeah, yeah. I agree. All right. Real quick recap on the rest of the games. Oregon destroys Liberty 45-6. Texas destroys Iowa 35-0. And I think that's Penn State loses to Ole Miss 38-25. So the SEC versus Big Ten was not that great this weekend. There was a lot of them too. Actually, it wasn't that great this weekend. So we'll see, man. I mean,
You
Big
don't
Ten's
want
about
to,
to be
you don't
a
want to talk
big.
about how you don't want to talk about how Penn State set back Penn State defense 30 years, dude. That
No,
coach needs to be fired. Okay, I don't care what anybody tells us.
I know how you feel, right? I know how you feel. All right, let's
I mean,
get to what
if you're an
everybody.
Ohio State fan, you can talk about firing Ryan Day. Then what is Penn State doing?
No, yeah, that's a whole different game. That's a whole different game.
I mean,
Like,
I will say this though. I mean, I didn't get to watch the whole game because I was in and out of the house, busy.
yeah,
But their quarterback is not very good, man. Or I'll rephrase this: he was horrible the other day. I'll say that. Okay, so.
no, 100%, 100%.
But here's
All
the
right,
point, though: if he's that bad, why is he throwing the ball 40 freaking times?
yeah.
Sorry, man.
Um, I no, I wouldn't. I don't. I don't understand when Drew Adler or how you say his name.
Yeah.
They love that guy, especially when they were recruiting him. I think they're just trying to give him chances and chances and chances. Um, so I guess I think that's what they was trying to do there. I can't say for you. I don't watch a lot of Penn State post game since I moved to Georgia. But I think they really had a lot of trust in this kid, especially I don't know early on at least. So I can't talk about it. I don't know. I can't explain it. It was a weird dynamic. I said it in the beginning of the season. I thought Penn State was going to be such a good team with that great defense, that really good running game. Comparable wide receivers. They had a quarterback that they trusted, and it just I don't know. It's like it's falling apart. PJ Graham says, "Hey guys, stuck in the back door. Go blue. Snuck in the back door. Go blue. Go blue. Appreciate you, PJ, one of our new listeners. So appreciate you being in here and talking to us. Appreciate that. Definitely go blue. Definitely go blue. Speaking of go blue, let's get to that championship game. Michigan, Washington, two opposite teams. They're going to be in the same conference next year. So we can kind of say this is going to be a Big Ten championship, right? Maybe
It will be next year.
it definitely will be next year. Obviously, Penix will definitely be in the NFL by that point. If I have no, well, I don't think he can stay anyway. I think he's like a 53-year senior or 6-year senior anyway. But anyway, big game. Gonna be down there in Houston. I kind of wish I was down there myself because I know that next year is gonna be I think it's next year. It's gonna be in Atlanta. The championship is gonna be in Atlanta. So I wish Atlanta was 1 year prior to this, but you guys don't know I'm in Georgia right now. But hey, man, I think this championship game feels right. I really do feel like this is gonna be a good game. We'll definitely see. Ray, what's your initial thoughts on it? And who do you think is gonna win?
I think Michigan's going to win the game. I think that I, I can't see Washington not hitting any big plays, but I don't think it's going to be what they're used to. I think the thing is this: if they want to, if they're willing to have 10, 11, 12, 13 play drives, they'll be okay. If they try to force things, that's going to play into what Michigan wants. And I can see them turning the ball over early and kind of making the difference there, to be honest with you.
Right. You stole my thunder. You literally stole my thunder. That was going to be what I said. Okay, so this game is going to come down to that Michigan defense. I think they was ranked the number one defense in the country, if I'm not mistaken, or some top 5 defense in the country, at least. Very good defense. A lot of people are saying, oh, they haven't played, a top, wide receiver core, this is that. I give you that. I give you the part on quarterback. Penix is going to make a difference. But we played a really good wide receiver core in Ohio State. So don't give me that. Ohio State has a lot of good wide receivers. With that being said,
Alabama has good wide receivers. They use them. They use them in different ways because of the quarterback's running ability.
But and that's the thing. That's the thing. As nobody really understands how good this Michigan defense is because how good they played against Marvin Harrison Jr. Played very well against him. He's the best receiver in the country. He's gonna get some plays. He has some plays in the game. I don't think he would
argue, honestly, Jerome. I know the Heisman is kind of like a quarter. It's like the MVP in football. It's kind of like a quarterback trophy now. To be honest with you, Marvin Harrison is the best player in college football. Is what he is.
100%.
I mean, you could see it when he's not in the game. Ohio State is a completely different offense, and that's all there is to it.
Definitely.
I mean, I have a thing. If I'm Chicago, right, I have the number 1 pick. If I have to, I will take Marvin Harrison Jr., period, if I have to. Or I'll trade down and someone else can take a quarterback.
Yeah, I made a tweet out there on Inside the Hashes Twitter account or X account, whatever you want to call it. I'll never get used to calling it X. But anyway, I put out there that I think the Bears should maybe get him first overall and pair him up with DJ Moore. That's for another conversation. That's when we get into our draft. And listen, we'll get into that after, if the season starts and we start getting into really draft stuff. But I wouldn't be mad about that. And I think this would be a good idea, especially if you have trust in Justin Fields. There you go, Justin Fields. Sorry, I was blanking. But yeah, our secondaries are really good secondary. Terrence Steele, Will Johnson Jr. Got the other cornerback's name right now. I'm blanking on his name, but man, we got good D-backs and really good defensive line. I think it's playing
Murray and Walker. Rod Moore's your free safety. And it's not even that they're
good.
They just play good. They play good fundamentals for one, and they're all plus athletes. So I mean, it's that simple. I mean, if you watch Michigan play defense and you're not impressed by how their technique at everything they do, man, it's just
very stout. Very stout.
Really, it's just like that's why you can say what you want about Ohio State receivers, man. Ohio State's top 2 receivers will both be first-round picks.
100%.
So if you don't consider that good, and that's not even counting Julian Fleming, who may be the best slot player or one of the best slot players in the league in college football.
It's Shepard.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, like you're talking
You know
about.
hey, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but you know where he transferred at?
I do not.
Penn State.
Why?
Flemings is in Penn State. I don't know.
I mean, I don't understand. They have no quarterback there, but I guess Ohio State really doesn't have one either. I don't know.
That's true too.
McCord, I think McCord's going to Syracuse.
Yeah, he did. He went to Syracuse. Yeah. He's already there. He's already there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't understand like Jerome. Honestly, okay, you're a Michigan guy, and you would love to play football at Michigan, right? Would you ever think about going to Ohio State?
No.
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 I don't think so.
I mean, I'm too much of a fan.
To flip from Ohio State or Penn and then go or Michigan and then go to Penn State is like that's a backwards move to me.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird.
You basically left the 2 best teams in the conference to go to a lesser unless you're a Pennsylvania kid. I guess there is that possibility. I don't know that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember where he's from. So like he's from Maryland. I'm not 100%. I can't remember.
I know McCord is from around here somewhere.
Yeah, he's from Penn. He's from Jersey.
Yeah.
PJ Graham. By the way, PJ, are you related to Mason Graham? Anyway, he said the D line will show up again. Penix will Penix. Blake the Great will score twice probably, and Chris Johnson will be a standout in the game. I think I like a lot about what you're saying. I will say Penix will be a factor in some type of way.
Well, he will.
He might not have as many deep passes as he had last game because man, he had like 6 to 8 of them where
you can't go out there thinking you're going to play against Michigan the same way you played against Texas. You just can't.
They're going to have to be a lot more balanced. They're going to have to run the ball, things like that. The thing about Penix is he's going to stay in the pocket a little bit more than Milroe did. I don't think they're going to try to have designed runs, but he is capable.
No, he is. It's going to be more like first read's not there, second read's not there. Then a run. You know what I mean? Like in between that third and that decision to just take off. You know what I mean? Because it can make plays running, but I would rather it be third and short where he's running, or than have even design runs. I don't want design runs, dude, because that's how a quarter. Like he's not a huge kid. He's big. He's tall. But he's not huge. I mean, he doesn't not super thick or nothing. Correct. So I don't want him taking hits unless he has to. Again, if you're Washington, you want to win the game. I would go to a short passing game to start the game off. And try to get the ball out of my quarterback's hands fast. Maybe even screens, something like that, bubble screen, something simple, just to get my quarterback. Because playing a game of like this, he's going to be amped a little bit. You know what I mean? Both quarterbacks are going to be amped. And I would probably – here's the difference. McCarthy has to do less for Michigan to win than Penix has to do for Washington to win.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Michigan's defense in the running game will take care of itself. If Michael Penix doesn't have a good game, Washington won't win.
I agree. Let me ask you this, right? Let's flip it to the other side. Defenses versus offense. So Washington's defense versus Michigan's offense. Now, I still think Michigan has one of the better or best offensive line in the country. I'm not saying the best, but one of the best ones, one of the top 10, 15 for sure. And then you have a Washington team who, they give up a lot of points, but this kid Trice the other night was incredible. I want to know what's your thoughts on both of those factors.
I think that Washington's defense is It's solid. They play a fourth. They play a 4-2-5, which again, I like the defense against pass, but not against the run. I think you have a star guy who's a kind of a hybrid safety linebacker type of a guy. These are the kind of teams that Michigan will manhandle up front sometimes. I'm just, again, I think
Yeah,
Michigan was going to run a lot more in this game than they did out against Alabama. I think
I
that's
agree. I agree. I agree. And I think the way you kind of play this game is you might have to run the ball a little bit more in this game because one, you want to keep the ball out of Penny's hands as much as possible. Two, like you said, three was it 4-2-4? It is no
4-2-5.
they
Yep.
play 4-2-5, which means they have a lot more safeties out there. If you can run the ball, it's a lot lighter than if you would have had linebackers out there. And plus, Washington's defense is made for them because they up so much all the time. So they have to be put against the pass so much. If you can keep
Blake Corum and your tight ends are going to have a field day in this game
yes, yes.
as a pass catcher out of the backfield.
Mm, mm. Hey, maybe we could get Donovan Edwards going a little bit. He's been kind of like down the last couple of weeks.
Agreed. I just think that like this is the kind of game where Blake Corum gets a little screen dump off screen, he takes it 30, 40 yards and scores a touchdown.
What's your thought on the I kind of feel like I know what you're gonna say, but Alex Orji when they have him in as the I don't want to say wild because he's not really a wildcat. He's already quarterback. But what's your thoughts on that play? I know Michigan likes to bring it out 2-3 times a game sometimes just to kind of like loosen up the defense a little bit. What's your thoughts on that and how that's gonna apply to
I
it?
think that is like a something like I would actually think about again. Washington's a little light up front. You're wrong. Their defense is not bad. It's not bad. It's not really not bad. And they played well against Texas, but they're a little light up front. Where if you double team a guy here and there, again, I think that they played Corum, Donovan Edwards, had big games, and where I think again you're playing a 4-2-5, so you're thinking, oh, coverage, so you're not going to throw the ball. You're going to throw the ball. We're going to throw it underneath short to take advantage of stuff later on down the road.
Definitely. Rise and Fitness, thanks for getting on. We always appreciate you, brother, but I think come on, man. Come on, man.
Is that
Come on.
the largely detergent tide or?
No, he's from Alabama, so I
got that. I was just kidding.
I know.
Like tide's done now. It's over till next year.
Nice.
Anybody else for Michigan and Washington?
Yeah, no, 100%. But all right, I want to ask you two more. You laughing at us? I appreciate you, man. You're a good guy. I appreciate you. We gotta get you on one of these podcasts for sure. I want to ask you this before we conclude our championship talk. What is the biggest downfall of Michigan in this game, and what would be the biggest downfall of Washington in this game? Do you think?
Biggest downfall of Washington. What would I think could be their biggest? In that their interior offensive line, Washington's, is not. They're not great players. They're just serviceable players.
Sounds very familiar, but go ahead.
Yes, it's very familiar with what happened with Alabama, and you do have one. The center is a senior, so he's not a he's a good solid player,
Yeah,
but he's not physical. You know what I mean? It's not. I think the interior of their offensive line is going to have a real problem with Michigan's front interior tackle, even an end. And here's the thing: Michigan is going to stunt against this front, and that is going to be huge to see if they can pick up that stunt and if they get stuff from Michigan. And I think that's really where Michigan's going to win the game, dude. I do. I think up front on defense, Michigan wins this game. And pretty much, again, if Michael Penix plays great, they'll be in the game to the end.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't, if he turns the ball over, Michigan probably wins by 10.
Okay. And on the flip side, what would be Michigan's downfall?
Well, they allow Michael Penix to go off and don't tackle.
Yeah.
There's times when Michigan didn't tackle well this year.
That's a big one. That's a big one, right? That is a big one.
There's been games against Ohio State in the first half they didn't tackle well.
Correct.
Against there are other games I can't remember off the top of my head. There were certain games where they didn't tackle well.
I agree with that.
If you don't tackle well against this team, Washington would score points on you, and that's the one thing that worries me. Michigan picks this game not to tackle. That has not been a problem the last 3 weeks, the last 3-4 games. Right. I wonder if Harbaugh coming back and has just changed their mentality a little bit even on defense.
Yeah.
We all know Jim Harbaugh, you can hate him or you can love him. The guy is there's something physical about how he thinks about football.
Correct. No, I agree.
He's the one guy on offense who played quarterback who I think he could probably hold his own against anybody.
Dude, he could take a hit. I remember that.
Yes. And that again, I just you know what it is for me, I always respect guys that work hard. And I respect Jim Harbaugh for that reason. Sorry.
Yeah. 100%. All right, so I'm gonna get to my downfalls. I think as far as Washington, I think their downfall will be they could do everything they did with everybody else with Michigan.
I don't think they'll be dumb enough to do that though, dude.
I don't think so either, but sometimes when you have success at things, you want to, and I honestly, I think that's what Alabama was getting into. They thought, oh, we're such a good deep throwers and this and that. And that first half, that's what they was trying to do, is trying to stick to what they had.
Here's the difference, though, Jerome. Alabama's defense is good, and they weren't worried if they turned the ball over here and there. If Washington turns the ball over early, man, they could get blown out in this game.
That's true. Yeah, I think that could be their biggest downfall for them, thinking they could do the same thing they did with every other team.
And also, you saw Alabama in the second half adjust and throw a lot more underneath stuff.
Correct. I think that's what Washington's going to have to do. They're going to have to be. They have to be smart. They're going to have to be very smart. Because if they don't game plan for this really well, it can be bad for them. Because I don't think what they normally do not fit. I mean, it fits perfectly what Alabama does. So go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I don't want to cut you off. I just don't. I think if they don't understand that they're going to have to be patient and maybe go 10, 11, 12 plays, 13 plays, even just to score a field goal, they better be ready for that, because that's what's going to happen to them if they want to win the game.
100%.
They go out there, like you said, well, this is our offense and this is what we do. Wow, dude, you can get your doors blown off you. Yeah. So you gotta be able to adjust, and and I think that's what made the Alabama game such a close game, because they at least tried to adjust to it. So plus, again, they can play physical with you.
Correct.
Georgia can play physical with you. Ohio State can play physical with you. There are certain teams that can do that. Washington is not one of those teams.
Very true.
They can play with finesse and with their brain and being in a good position at the time was what they did, even against Texas. It wasn't they were physical, but they were in the right place, and they stopped Texas from making plays early.
Correct.
Like usually Texas, by the middle of the third quarter, they're blowing your doors off, and it didn't matter. That didn't happen in this game. And again, they didn't know what to do about that. They thought they were going to outscore Washington. They were wrong.
Yeah.
They should be like Washington should be against Michigan. They should have been like, we're going to run the ball here, and we're going to throw the ball short. And if we have to take 10, 11, 12 plays. We don't want Washington's offense on the field. Now,
Correct.
Michigan will go in there with that same formula, I believe, but they'll be able to operate it because they can run the ball.
100%. So yeah, I agree with that. I also want to let me get to Michigan's downfalls. Well, I think the biggest Michigan downfall is, and it's gonna sound it might sound so stupid, but hear me out on it. Michigan's biggest downfall is the light will get too bright for them. Now, when I say that in a lot of ways because last year I felt the lights got too dark for them. The year before that, the lights got too bright for them. What that means, it don't mean that like they don't have the capability of playing well. What that means is letting all this great stuff they've been doing so far in the season and stuff like that, they start not doing it. Penix is going to try to throw down the field. We've been great at that. Maybe a DB gets out of alignment or something like that. That's going to be bad. Stick to the fundamentals. We've been going so great with the fundamentals, staying in line, nobody out of place. As long as we stick to that and we're good, we'll be good. What I mean by the lights too bright is turnovers. Especially special teams. I mean, it's not only the special teams, but special teams are so horrible last week. We cannot do that against Washington. That has to be fixed. Oh, that was the other thing, the missed field goal. I knew there was something that I forgot when we were talking about earlier. It was the missed field goal from the special teams. The missed field goals, we can't have the missed field goals. We can't have the bad punting. We can't have the muff punt. I'm actually kind of glad that happened in that Alabama game because maybe you'd be like, all right, this is something we need to clean up and we got to focus on it. So kind of glad that happened in a sense, but you can't have the J.J. McCaffrey throwing almost pick six in the beginning of the game, stuff like that. Like, I feel like it's that early momentum kind of thing, the sticking to what you do well, which is running the ball, play action with McCaffrey, having really good, short yardage type of great game plan calls like they did against Alabama, stuff like that. They got the two plays that Blake Corum got open, brilliant plays, small, easy completion, wide open type of plays. Those two plays were amazing. The touchdown and then the fourth down at the end of the game. Those two amazing plays. We gotta do stuff like that. Short things, simple things, stuff that gets somebody wide open. Not trying to out chuck the opponents. Like, hey, if Michigan goes down by 7, don't start trying to throw down the field and match their passing game. No, like run the ball. So stick to what you got. Stick to what got us here. I mean, I feel like Michigan has been kind of, and this is the reason why I'm saying this, because Michigan kind of been like that the last couple of playoffs where they kind of get away from who they are a little bit. Like, I understand last year because Blake Corum didn't play in that game, so you felt like you couldn't run as much, but like with that TCU game, man, we would have been fine if he was running the ball. J.J. McCaffrey threw a pick six early in the game. You're fine if he was running the ball. So I don't want us to get too cute. I don't want us to get I don't want us to be like we are forcing something because the bright light. It's the stage. We have to look sexy. No, play your game. Do what's been working. So I think that would be our biggest downfall. And I'm not just saying this because I don't think there's other issues that Michigan has that they can lose. But I'm saying this as a track record from the last couple of playoff games we've been playing. So, Ray, you want to add into what I just said? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or
no, I agree with you. I think that Jim Harbaugh is focused, and I don't think the lights are ever bright enough for Jim Harbaugh. To be honest with you, he loves it.
I mean, yeah, you're right. He was in a Super Bowl before, but I just don't want it to be one of like I want to if Michigan comes out here and play their game and still lose, I'll be completely happy with it. I'll be fine. I would hate that they lose. Obviously, you don't want to ever see your team lose the championship game. I'll be sad about it. But if we go out here and play our game and don't turn the ball over, and Penix is just Penix and he's the Heisman runner up when a lot of people think he should have been a Heisman, all hands to it, man. He just outplayed us, and you know what I mean. I think that I look very highly of Penix. I hope that he plays very well in the NFL. He does very good stuff. If it was against any other team, I'll be completely rooting for him. But I just don't think it should be. I don't think Michigan should be trying to go too hard what they're doing. Remy says I think it might be a shootout. I don't know about shootout.
I think if it gets turned into a shootout, that's what Michigan wants.
Exactly. We don't want that.
I think they want J.J. McCarthy to throw the ball 25 times. Mm-hmm. That to them is plenty. If he throws the ball 35 times, they're probably not running the ball well enough.
Yep. And if I was Washington, I don't know. I might have to sell out for the run. I don't know.
I'm Washington, dude. I'm changing my defense a little bit, and I'm loading up to stop the run.
Yeah.
And I'm making Michigan to adjust to that.
Yeah. How much of your scheme can you change? Unless you already had this in your game plan.
If you run for starters, I'm running a 4-2-5. I run a 4-4-3-4.
Yeah.
I'll have an extra linebacker out there. Right away, you got to adjust to that.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's also like, you don't want to get away from your total defense because it's only a week difference.
This is not a Pac-12 defense that's going to throw the ball 35 times if they want to win.
Correct.
This is a Big Ten offense that really wants to establish the run and then take shots downfield with the play fake. That's what Michigan wants to do. Really, that's what all Big Ten teams really want to do.
Yeah, that's true because, that defense is definitely built for a Pac-12 type of defense, for sure.
It is, and that's the thing, though. Like, you that's why you run the ball and use the play fake to create because you're a cold weather team, and that's what you do best. We all talk about, dude, when Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, when we're good, we're running the ball.
Definitely. Fun fact, and I don't think this is a shootout kind of situation, so I'm not saying this because of this. But Ray, I want you to guess how many deep passes did Michigan have last week?
4.
5. That's very close. 5. 5 deep passes.
I can remember 3 or 4 off the top of my head.
There's 5. How many did Alabama have?
2. 1. Okay. I remember 1.
Great guesses. That was great.
I remember 1, and it was almost completed. It was a little out of bounds, right?
No, I think that one was completed, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was completed, yeah. So I think it
was the other one it was only 1, though, huh?
Mm-hmm. So, okay. And that's why I was like, and it wasn't because Alabama wasn't trying.
No.
It was trying. That's why they were giving them sacks.
They were thinking about it, but when they saw the coverage that Michigan was playing, they were like, maybe not.
Yeah.
If we do that, then we're going to expose the quarterback, and I don't really want to do that. And
100%.
I think that's why they thought they could throw the short passes, and maybe that would make you guys react and then come up. But it didn't matter because you guys were tackling well.
100%.
Like your linebackers were tackling everything they were throwing underneath. Safeties played very well in this game. Michigan safeties played great in that game.
100%. Yeah.
So
that's why,
when you have good linebacker or good safety play, they clean up everything.
Mm-hmm. Rob Moore had a really good game in that game. I don't think he was talked about enough in there. I know Mason Graham got defensive MVP in there, but Rob Moore was playing very well in that game.
He was. And with Graham, though, he makes big plays when it matters, man.
100%.
You know what I mean?
I will say this though. I think Texas. And you said this right that you wanted Texas to be in the championship, I think Michigan will have a harder time with Texas. Even though I think Penix is the X factor in his game, he's the X factor. If they win, I think it's gonna be all on Penix.
You know what it is? If Texas would have got in there, their foundation is more closer to your foundation. Yeah. Run the ball, play defense. Yeah. What happened was they got into a shootout with Washington. That's not why Michigan does not want to do that.
100%. Okay. And the running back put the ball on the ground twice.
And don't get me wrong, Texas's offense is good, and their quarterback is good, but they should have went into the game thinking, we don't want their quarterback to be on the field more than our quarterback. So we need to run the ball here, man.
I agree with that. If Michigan is smart enough, they will definitely do that. But that's gonna do it for us today, guys. We're a little over, man. It's gonna be an incredible game. We're both picking Michigan in this game, so I'm glad that Ray's on our side this week. Appreciate you. But man, I'm hoping for a good game. I hope it. I will always hope for a good game. I will not want anything to be a blowout. I don't think this is gonna be a type of blowout game. Even if Michigan gets up, I think Washington is gonna find a way to kind of chuck it up some kind of way. They're gonna figure out a way to get their receivers the ball, man. They're gonna figure it out. It might, if it does get kind of out of hand at one point, Washington's gonna find a way to bring it closer in some kind of way. If they win or not, whatever. But I don't think this is gonna be a blowout. I think it's gonna be a good game. I'm hoping for a good game, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. If we get on a podcast next week, my voice is going, you know why? Because I'm probably gonna be screaming. I was screaming a lot in the last game, but it wasn't. I didn't have a lot. I wasn't screaming a lot in the beginning of the game. I was screaming a lot at the end of the game. So we'll see. But man, thank you guys for checking us out, man. Remy, PJ, Chris, all you guys that participated today. We do appreciate all you guys. Everybody that's watching or was watching. We appreciate you guys as well. I've seen a couple of guys coming in and out. So we appreciate you guys for coming in here. Make sure if you're not already, that little QR code right there, I have it behind me as well. Look at me, cross my hands like that. Make sure you scan those. That allows you to go to our social media. Follow us on Twitter. We on pursuit of getting 10,000. A little under right now. We're like 8,000 right now. So we're trying to get to that 10,000 mark very soon. So if you can go in there and hit like and subscribe on YouTube as well, hit that notification button so you know when we do go live. As you guys know, like we said, we're going to be doing a lot of drafts and stuff. The Senior Bowl is coming up in a few weeks. Got some nice names in there, Ray. I heard a rumor about Penix being there. You already got Bo Nix in there already. A couple of big names, a couple of Georgia guys that's in there. Lad McConkey. Their cornerback, blanking on the cornerback's name, but got some good names that are going to be in there. I'm pretty sure we're going to get one or two Michigan guys. Jim Nagy loves to get his Michigan guys, so I'm pretty sure we're going to grab a couple of them after this game. But I'm super excited about it, right, man? It's going to be some big names. I'm glad that it's going to be some juniors in there this year, so the name pool is going to be a little bit better this year. So I'm super excited about it. But keep it locked right here on Inside the Hatches and RPO College Football Podcast. We have all that coverage with that, player interviews, video, some fun stuff that we're creating for this one. So definitely keep it locked. Any last words before we get off, Ray?
No, just funny how Bo Nix is now, the golden child again.
Yeah. I said it on Twitter, man. I said like the what did I say exactly? I said the growth from Alabama to Oregon is very astonishing with him, and I'm very excited to see where it goes from Oregon to the Senior Bowl, then Senior Bowl to the NFL. Because if he can mold himself that well to where he is now in Oregon, and if he can continue that, he got a bright future. So I'm very curious to see where he goes because I'm not sure. I don't know where he kind of lies in it. It's a deep quarterback class, man. It's very deep.
It is, man. But I mean, I think I'm going to be fun to see where people project him and where he finally goes. To be honest with you. I mean, there's no doubt that he has some talent.
Yeah.
He's a scary prospect, though.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. Maybe we got some Oregon guys coming out of the draft or playing for little ball in the NFL. I don't know. But hey, man, that's gonna do it for us, man. We're gonna talk about all that. We're gonna have quarterback rankings and running back rankings, and we're gonna have our annual mock draft and stuff like that. Senior Bowl coverage, combine coverage, draft coverage. All man, season does start. Season does start. It always starts. It doesn't end though. So keep it locked right here with Inside the Hashes and RPO podcast for all your great football news and everything like that. I'm super excited about the off season. I love the off season. So I'm Jerome Jones. That's Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate y'all, and we see you on the next one. Have a good one. Peace. Go Blues.